Welcome to Womb Talk. I'm your host, Elizabeth Vanderbilt, a holistic doula and a women's health coach, and the founder of Fruitful Womb Doula Services. This space is for every woman who is walking the path of deeper healing. So if you're tending to your fertility, you're carrying life, or you're even grieving or into the wisdom of menopause. Here we honor the full spectrum of womanhood through story, nourishment, and sacred conversation. So let's settle in. Take a deep breath and begin. Today we have Claudia with us. She is going to be talking about PMDD. So I'd love, Claudia, if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your story and maybe even what PMDD is.
Hi, Elizabeth. I'm so happy to be here. Yes, I'm Claudia. I'm a motherhood empowerment mentor, and I help mothers who are overwhelmed for whatever reason to integrate more self-care into their daily lives. I started this because I have PMDD, and most people don't know these letters.
Yes.
Most women know PMS, right?
Yeah.
Premenstrual syndrome. PMDD is that times 1,000. Premenstrual Dysphoric Disorder. It basically means that you have a mood disorder for 2 weeks of the month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And dysphoric means usually it is depression, but the symptoms can vary a lot. So some women experience heightened frustration, heightened anger. It's basically 2 weeks you're the normal you, and the other 2 weeks you're a completely different person.
That is intense. That sounds very intense.
That is very intense, and about 1 in 20 women have it.
Wow.
And
That
because
much?
it's so little, yes, it is quite a lot, and it is still so little known. So when I had my son by now 9 years ago, and I didn't know about it at all. I had a postpartum depression, which is not fun to deal with, I guess.
You've just been
You've talked about this on
been
this podcast.
you've just been given 2 cards already, like stack them. Oh boy.
I think, sorry, if the brain reacts weird to some part of the hormones, it reacts badly to a lot of changes. Yeah. So that postpartum depression was treated quickly and really well. I live in the Netherlands.
Oh, wonderful.
You have people coming to your home and helping you out with a newborn, and they realize, like, after day 3, this is not baby blues. This is something more. We need to get you help. So pretty much from the onset, I had help in the household. My partner is great. My mom came over to visit us and help out. And then as the months went on, the kid grew bigger and it felt more normal. We transitioned out of autumn into summer and my mood got better, which is great.
Yes.
But then, like, I realized, like, I went back to a normal work schedule as well. Like, first I started with 3 days and then 4 days. And on my day off, I would have these feelings of not being a good enough mom. I would start crying when I started to get us ready for the day because it's like, I can't handle going out to a play park today. I was like, what's going on? This is weird.
Yeah.
And then a month later, I was like having the same thing. And I was like, oh, my period is due like next week. Probably I'm a bit emotional. And then another month goes on and another month. And I keep saying like, oh, my period is due next week. And then I was like, wait, this is weird. Every month I have these feelings of despair and wanting to leave my partner, thinking they're better off without me. What is this? Like, so I started Googling like cyclical depression, obsessive thoughts, and I found PMDD. And I ticked all the boxes that for 2 weeks of the month in between ovulation and your period, I had these intense mood swings. I was very down, hopeless. And I had a name.
Yeah.
And that is what PMDD is. And I've talked to other moms who experience similar things, especially with little kids. It's really, really hard. But then I talk to other women whose main symptom is anger. So I also find it very tough that when I talk about it, some women will recognize it and others won't because symptoms can be so different.
So I would assume that PMDD does not happen when you are expecting. am I wrong, or like did you get relief for the 9 months that you were expecting?
Most
Okay.
women have perfect pregnancies because, so what PMDD is, or what currently science thinks it is that your brain reacts badly to the normal hormonal fluctuations
Okay.
during your cycle. So it doesn't have anything to do with abnormal levels. Everything in your body is functioning as it should, except your brain reacts badly.
Okay. Well, I was like, you
And
should get a break during the pregnancy, but
yeah,
I could be wrong.
no, it's true for most women. There's a small group that is really intolerant to progesterone, so then that's not nice.
More.
But yeah, most women experience relief, which is, yeah.
Well, that's good. At least you have that good little silver lining of the story.
True.
So I would love to know how this led you to start supporting other moms that have it.
Yeah. When I was out of the bad stuff, when my son was about 3.5, 4 years old, I finally had a diagnosis. It still took me another 6 months to get treatment, but that's a different story. When I was looking back, I was like, this could have gone so differently if I didn't have help, if I didn't have a network, if people hadn't recognized that something is actually wrong and taken it seriously.
Yeah.
And then in my whole journey to getting treatment, I was on wait lists for another like 6 to 9 months. And I was like, we can't have that happen to moms.
No.
Because if you don't have anybody, if you're an expert like me and your network is really small, where are you going to go? Who's going to help you through that? And it doesn't always have to be a professional who gives you treatment. I think sometimes it's just enough to talk to a friend, or like an outsider who will always listen to you, because we know all our friends all have their own lives as well.
Yes.
They're not always available, and sometimes you just need someone who's there, also at 10 o'clock at night, who goes like, I've been there. You'll be okay tomorrow.
Yes.
And well, I was working in a job. I was working in software. It's like, I am not going to change the world with this, but if I can help one mom not go through what I went through, that would be great. So this is how this whole thing started.
That's awesome. And this kind of stuff always makes me think, because I've seen that list, and I don't know if other people have seen it on the internet, where back in the 1800s, there's a list of all the reasons why women would be institutionalized. And whenever I see that list, I'm like, oh. And so like when I have this talk with you, I'm like, I wonder how many women of the past experience things like this and we did not know it was happening. Like this is something new for me to learn about too. And it just so much in my mind goes with that. And so thank you for coming to tell me about it too today. I'm learning too, everybody. I'm always in the seat of like, okay, I'm listening and learning.
This is great, right? This is why we connect with each other, to learn from each other.
Yes, and we have the power of the internet to help us do that, because you're all the way in the Netherlands and I'm here in Canada. We're like, wow. So what do you wish more moms knew about the link between the menstrual cycle and the mood swings?
So I think what I want every mom or every woman to know is your hormones affect you always.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be to the extreme like it does with me and a lot of other women, but we are cyclical beings and we can't perform at the same level every day. So the second half of your cycle will look different. And I think accepting that and knowing what it looks like for you is the first step to having a life that's maybe a little less stressful.
Very important, the least stress. It's the one thing that we all really need more, like more of that lessness. But it seems to come in like tenfold to everybody. So you think that's the main component between the mood swings and the menstrual cycle, is that stress factor?
I think stress exacerbates it. Like, I mean, your hormones play a part. And yeah, what I also want women to know is if it impacts the quality of life that you have, then it's not just something that is part of womanhood. Like,
yeah,
if you talk to a doctor and they say, but you're a woman, this is part of it. I want you to be able to say like, no, it's not. Like, I'm depressed or I want to leave my relationship. This is not what life is supposed to be like. So if you have symptoms, speak up and don't take, well, the no, we won't help you for an answer.
Yes, that's very good advice. That should be on a t-shirt and like plastered places. I could go
It's
on
not
that
just
subject forever.
permanent.
Oh, because the thing is, I always like to tell like my clients too is that a lot of what we have is I don't know how you're feeling. Like you could tell me all this stuff, I hear your story, but I physically do not know what you're going through. And that goes for your medical care providers, anyone that's like close near you. We can hear your struggles, we can hear your story and say, oh, yeah, it's going to get better. But we don't know. We don't know what you're struggling with. And so that's why I always say, like, when it comes to decision making, is you need to decide because you know you best. Nobody else knows you. So
Yeah,
that plays, I think, a very key component into this as well, from what I'm hearing.
it does. And I think it, like, knowing your cycle is such a superpower for every woman.
Yes. I
Like,
Go ahead, go ahead,
how
sorry.
do you see that in your work? Because I'm also super excited to like talk to a doula because it
Well,
sounds like such a great job.
the cycle part of it, like you said, is so important because I very kind of, I guess, in the woo side of things, I do like the moon cycles and the sun. And that's what someone said is a lot of our male counterparts, they are like the sun, 24-hour clock. They just continue to reset. Where we are like the moon, we need that whole month, the whole progress. And like you were saying, that there's different parts of the seasons of your cycle, and there's a lot, like when you break it down, it goes into the food, it goes into the, like, it goes into almost every little thing, like your exercise, and like some people do seed cycling, like it's endless.
Mhm.
So there's so many different kind of steps to that a little bit as well. And you were mentioning about cycle tracking, so do you think that that is important into understanding and managing this PMDD?
Absolutely. First of all, it's the only way to diagnose PMDD. Like you can't test it in the blood, you can't test it in the hormone
Wow.
levels. So the only way to figure out is if you consistently have symptoms, the same symptoms in the second half of your cycle.
Wow.
Typically, second half of your cycle. Um, so what doctors will ask you is to keep like a symptom diary for about 2 to 3 cycles or 2 to 3 months to see if the same patterns emerge. Um, and so, yes, it's a diagnostic tool, but I also think it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be medical. I don't know if you like how your biology classes looked like when you were younger, but it was all very clinical. We had some sex ed and we were told to like maybe keep a menstrual calendar. So we were a little bit prepared, but it's also clinical and focused on the reproductive side of our cycles. Well, as you mentioned, it can be so much more. It influences your like your food and how you take in certain nutrients. You can do seed cycling. It takes like it has to do with your energy and what kind of sports you do and how and when. And I think knowing this about yourself, having this inner clock and understanding it is just like, to me, this is amazing. It doesn't have to be about how many days from now on do I bleed, but it can be about like, oh, I might be less inclined to cook over the next week. Let's order takeout or make sure we have freezer meals ready.
Yes.
I just think this is great.
No, and like you said, with the classes and everything, it is always focused on sex. Don't get pregnant. This is when you could get pregnant, and that's it. And there is so much more to it because women are, as a whole, just completely different than men. And so I do sometimes wonder who wrote the school the school lessons a little bit. I mean, I was homeschooled, so thankfully my mother was in charge. But she grew up in the system, so she's very used to like what she was learned, and my mom was very basic, like here's a book, enjoy. That's your lesson. But like there's so much out there, and that's why platforms like these are so important because like I'm learning new about PMDD too, and there's so much that I'm sure people are like, oh yeah, this is checking a few boxes, and other people are like, wow, I did not know other people are going through that a little bit. So that's very important. And I am curious, have you found like an app, or is there anything out there that helps you keep track of it a little bit more, or is it just manual journaling for you at this time?
I've tried a lot of stuff, so I can
Okay.
talk about cycle tracking all day.
Okay. Well, the floor
um,
is yours, so please do.
I started with pen and paper because at some point I was tired of taking the pill and putting extra hormones in my body. So I started cycle tracking with the natural family planning method. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you've talked about
Yes.
this on your podcast. If you, yes. So temperature, body symptoms, and I started charting.
Wonderful.
Um, I've done this for a long time, which actually really helped me in my diagnosis because I could go to my GP and say, I actually know exactly when my ovulation was. So this chart is very correct. And then I used an app for a while because tracking symptoms is just easier when you can do it when it pops up in your head.
Yeah.
So you have your phone nearby, you do it. So I think I used Flow for a while.
Okay.
Um, that seemed to be the most I like that you could track your cycle and your temperature and put in different symptoms. And then, of course, we had the whole privacy scare to keep your data private. So I went back to paper.
Paper does seem to be a recurring theme of like the standard. I mean, until one day you've passed away and then some architect found it buried somewhere. It's like, oh, okay, that's what they were busy doing back then.
Yeah, but what I currently like is, do you know those like cycle wheels? It's just a
Oh,
simple wheel chart with like 30 segments because it takes it again away from the calendar and it focuses just on it can be as simple as one or two words. What do you feel? What do you experience? What do you actually sense in your body? I love that.
that is awesome. So it's
And because
go
I
ahead.
love this so much, I made a cycle tracker.
Awesome. And did you have that for us to put in the show notes later for
Yes,
everybody? Oh,
totally.
perfect. Okay. Well, then everyone, to check the notes after you've done listening. Probably listen through this first. But I guess I am curious, and this wasn't in our pre-talk questions. So, like, if you want to tell me, like, nah, did they ever find a way to help you? Like, is there a medicine, or have you looked into herbs or anything like that that does help a little bit besides just knowing when in your cycle that this
Yep.
happens?
There's different layers of treatment. The first layer of treatment, as my doctor put it, you treat hormones with hormones. They will give you a pill.
Oh,
like
okay.
the
Okay.
because the idea is if you take away the ups and downs of the natural cycle, then your brain doesn't have to react to the fluctuations and you're good, you're just level. For some women this works. My husband called me a witch with a bee for like 3 months.
Okay, that wasn't very nice, husband of Claudia, but
No. I asked him because
oh,
at some point you need to validate what you feel. It's like, so how do you think it's going with this course of treatment? He's like, it's not going.
okay. Okay, I take back my statement, husband of Claudia, but still, not the same. It's wow. Okay, so besides the pill, it's mainly just things that could try to help you regulate the hormones then a little bit, if I understand
Yeah.
correctly.
So there's lifestyle changes that you can do. I don't think it takes away the root cause because the root cause is in the brain, and we can. I don't know, seed cycle. Sorry, this is just one bad example. As much as we want, but I think the better you feel in your body, the more you eliminate stress, the stronger you are, the more resilient you are, the better you can deal with things like PMDD and other stuff that comes your way. So I think it helps. Lifestyle changes, great fan. I don't think there's a solution. They will try antidepressants because that treats most of the symptoms.
Okay.
And there's actually great studies coming out of Germany where they've tried to just give antidepressants from the moment that symptoms start. So you could take them for a very limited period in your menstrual cycle, which is great.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't work for me. I was still super, super tired and it took the edge off, but it still wasn't where I wanted it to be. So I am now in chemical menopause. I get a depot shot every few months to just completely get rid of my cycle, which is a very big step, and they won't ever advocate this as the first course of treatment, but I've been looking for 5-6 years to find something that works.
Yeah, and that's the main thing, is finding something that does work for you, because again, we go back to that,
Yeah.
you know you best. You're the only one that knows you the best. So I'm
And I
glad
think
that
you should,
you found something that's helping a little bit.
thank you. And I think you should have all the information, right? Like, as you say, like, you know yourself best, but it's good to have all the information. I think dealing with PMDD is just a process. At some point, you're like, okay, I might want to try. Like, I was dead set on never taking a pill ever again. And then after like 2 years, I was like, maybe we should try it. Also, just so I could say I've tried everything.
Yeah.
So you get the information and then you process it and then you sit with it a little bit and then you figure out what feels right for you.
That is so important. And like I said, I am very glad that you found an answer a little bit to your situation, because I can only imagine, like when you told the story too, I'm like, oh, that must be very, very rough. Because I know mood swings. Oh boy, the people that live with me, they know the mood swings. Oh, Rebecca's like, oh, I know it's coming. But it's still, I know it from my perspective. But to think even where you might be at, I can only imagine. So I guess, do you have any advice to anybody that's listening about self-care or support that you can do during the hard days, and what maybe you'd recommend?
So as a mom, I always try to figure out what I still can do. Like my energy levels would decrease drastically. I wasn't up for big walks in the park, going to the zoo. But of course, you still want to be connected to your child. Um, like depending on their age, they also depend on you for entertainment, for just the basic things in life, basic needs. So I tried always to figure out what I can do. Can I sit with them on the couch, and is more screen time okay? I think that is a form of self-care, just letting things be okay and going away from I have to be a picture perfect mom that never allows screens, that has a very clean home that I can put on Instagram at any moment. Um, I think the one self-care thing I would tell every mom is it's okay to have an easy life.
Yeah, that's
It's okay to have freezer meals. It's okay to have takeout. It's okay to not clean up the kitchen for once.
who needs a clean kitchen? my mother
From
always
time to
said,
time you do, but not every
yeah,
day.
exactly. I know my mother, she always used to say to me, she said, it was two things. I would choose clean house or spend time with you guys. And I chose spend time with you guys a lot of the time, because I didn't care about the house enough to worry about that.
My mom was a single mom. She raised me by herself. I was like, how did you do it? Especially like with a small. She's like, some days I went to bed when you went to bed, and that was it for the day.
Yep.
Like, okay, yeah.
Good advice. Good advice for Claudia's mom, too. I love it. So, do you have, you had mentioned about your cycle tracker that you made, but how
Yes.
do people work with you? Like, where can they find you a little bit, that they could be like, you know what? I love Claudia so much. I know I need to work with her. So, like, where, and how can people find you?
So first of all, people should find my Facebook group, because I have a Facebook group for moms where we can talk about all those topics, because it's called the Mom Village, because I think moms need a village. We are not made to be in our own four walls with our partners and our kids. We need the aunts and the grandmas and
Yes.
all our friends to talk about things like cycle issues, raising children, just sometimes taking children. So they should find me in my Facebook group and come talk and make the conversation livelier, which is always great. And if you want to work with me, something really cool I have is Voxer voice support for a week, because troubles with kids don't happen when you have a coaching session planned. They happen in everyday life.
Yes.
They happen when you put on the shoes. They happen when you try to go to the supermarket. And that's when you lose your cool and you're starting to berate yourself for losing your cool, you can just Voxer me and be like, Claudia, I lost my shit. And I will get back to you and be like, that's okay. You can get through this. And you can do this for a whole week, and I will get back to you and I will tell you what the next little thing is that you can do to be calm and to be cool and to get just through that moment.
To not lose your shit.
Sorry, can I say this on the
Yeah.
podcast?
It's very chill here. We just We are what we are. If it gets censored, then we just crop the piece they didn't like. It's all good. We try to be fun. Life is all about that. Like we have the internet now. Things are starting to be restricted. I'm like, why? Like, just let's be cool. Everybody, be cool. So my final question that I have for you, and this is a question that I've kind of been asking everyone. It's kind of like my season question, and it kind of puts people on the spot. So you could be like, "Oh, this is a big question," but what does being a woman mean to you?
That is a big question.
Like I said, it puts people on the spot, but it gets you. Everybody's got something different to say. Like it could be anything that you might think. So
Wait, this is an audio podcast, right? This is not a video podcast because I was going to show you a painting I made the other day, but that's not going to help our view.
It is video.
Great.
Okay.
Great. That was good. So, can you see this?
Yes, I love that.
I made this the other day. We were having a paint workshop, and we were supposed to draw gezellige dames in Dutch, like funny women or like joyous women.
That's and I think this is thought.
This woman doesn't give a shit. She's just enjoying her life, and I want to be this in like, well, technically now, but I want to be this.
I love that. I love that so much. And you are a very good artist. That is
Thank you.
Another good skill you have. Claudia seems to be overall very skilled.
Claudia enjoys making art. I learned that. I enjoy just sitting down
and that's such a self-care thing right there.
It
right
is,
there. That
right?
is a self-care thing because you found something that makes you happy and you do it. I love it. I honestly do.
And you should do it. Like mothers think, especially with little kids, they don't have enough time. Like maybe they ran 5K before their kid was born. Just take the time. Take the time for a run around the block. If you do it 5 minutes, who cares? It's your 5 minutes because you're still you.
Yeah, I mean, heck, if you like running, just put him in the stroller and push that. Add a little extra oomph to it, or some people baby carry, but after a certain weight limit, I don't know how people do that. After that, you're just like a strength trainer here, because I'm like, oh boy, I see some of these moms carrying like grown toddlers. I'm like, you are strong.
Right.
Claudia is strong.
We had a birthday party just last week, and my kid turned 9, and we took 9 kids to the zoo.
Oh.
A kid fell, scraped his knee, didn't want to walk anymore. Oh. My husband carried that kid through the zoo, and he's like, at 8, they're not small anymore.
8 years? Oh, Claudia's husband is strong also. Oh, this was absolutely a blast, and I love your definition of a woman that uses art as the key answer there. So that was a very good answer. I love that.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming to do this with me. We have to do this again and do all the fun things, and I'll put all the links that Claudia mentioned in the description so that you can start working with her, because she's awesome. Honestly, I feel like she's just going to light your life up just a little bit with all her fun positivity. I love it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.